These 7 words are all you need to shut down a police interrogation before it ever starts, and most people have no idea they even exist. If you've ever thought, "I'll just explain my side and everything will be fine," then what you're about to learn could be the most important thing you hear all year. Because the technique cops are trained to use on you isn't loud. It isn't aggressive. It's quiet, it's personal, and by the time you realize it's happening, you've already said too much. I'm going to show you exactly how this works, move by move, and give you the one phrase a lawyer will tell you to say the moment you see it being used against you. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because every week I'm dropping videos that give you the exact legal knowledge you need to protect yourself when it counts. You don't want to miss what's coming. Now, most people imagine police interrogations the way they've seen them on television. A detective slamming his fist on the table, voices raised, accusations flying. That image could not be further from the truth. The most dangerous interrogation technique law enforcement uses today doesn't look like pressure at all. It looks like friendship. It's called the mirror method, and it is the most psychologically sophisticated tool in a law enforcement officer's arsenal. Understanding it could be the difference between walking out of that room and walking into a courtroom. Here's how it starts. Before the officer ever enters the room, you've already been sitting alone. No phone, no clock, no one to talk to, for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. That's not an accident. Isolation is the first move. Your mind starts filling in the silence. Your anxiety builds. And then, right on cue, the door opens and in walks someone calm, warm, maybe even smiling. They introduce themselves by first name. They ask if you want coffee, water, something to eat. They sit down across from you, and everything about their body language says, "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help." Your nervous system responds. The tension in your chest eases just a little. And that exact moment, is when you're most vulnerable. What happens next is textbook mirroring. The officer begins to talk about themselves. They share something personal, their age, a struggle they went through, a moment in life when things got complicated. And they phrase it just enough to echo your own situation back to you. They're not doing this because they relate to you. They're doing this because mirroring is a trained psychological technique designed to create the illusion of shared experience. When you feel like someone understands you, you open up. And an open mouth in a police interrogation room is all they need. The officer then moves the conversation toward your relationships. They ask about your family, your brother, your mother, your kids. And you answer because it's just small talk, right? It doesn't feel like anything. But every answer you give is being stored. The people you love, the pressure they're under, the weight you carry for them, all of it goes into a mental file that the officer will open again later, at exactly the right moment, when you're already emotionally exhausted. Then comes the sympathy. And this is where the mirror method becomes something else entirely. The officer shifts the conversation and tells you, quietly but clearly, that they're not focused on anyone else in this situation. They're focused on you. They're worried about you. Everyone else in that building is looking at evidence and outcomes and legal exposure, but not them. They're the one person in that room who sees you as a human being. And something in your brain registers that as safety, as alliance, as the one relationship in this entire situation you can trust. That feeling is manufactured. Every word of it. Because what the officer has just done is isolate you emotionally inside the room, the same way you were isolated physically before they walked in. They've made themselves the only safe person in your world. And the moment you believe that, staying silent starts to feel like a betrayal. Asking for a lawyer starts to feel like an insult to the one person who's been kind to you. And talking, explaining, clarifying, helping them understand, starts to feel like the only reasonable thing left to do. This is the trap. And it works not because people are stupid, but because people are human. We are wired to reciprocate kindness. We are wired to want to be understood. We are wired to correct a false story when we hear one. And trained law enforcement knows all of this before they ever sit down across from you. Here's what the next phase looks like. The officer starts presenting what seems like a flawed version of events. They tell you they might have it wrong. They tell you they're open to hearing your side. They play devil's advocate. And your instinct, a completely normal, completely understandable instinct, is to fix the record. To say, "No, that's not how it happened." But the moment you say those words, you have done something you cannot undo. You have stepped inside their story. You are no longer a person who has nothing to say. You are now a narrator. And once you start narrating, they just keep asking the next question. Then come the pieces of evidence. Not all at once, that would be too much too fast. One at a time. A piece of clothing. A receipt. A photograph. They show you one item, and they watch your face. They listen to your words. They know what you deny and what you hesitate on. Because in a court of law, a recorded denial they can later disprove is just as useful to them as a confession. Either you agree, and they have an admission, or you disagree, and they have a lie. You are choosing between two options, and both of them belong to the officer. And when the pressure gets heavy enough, the file they built on your family gets opened. Your brother said to tell you he loves you. Your mother is worried. Your kids don't understand what's happening. And talking, just explaining what actually happened, would help them. Would give them peace. Would show that you're still the person they know. This is emotional coercion dressed in the language of love. And it is extraordinarily effective because guilt about the people we love hits us somewhere that fear of consequences cannot reach. At the end of all of it, after the isolation and the warmth and the mirroring and the sympathy and the evidence and the family, the officer tells you there's no downside to talking. That explaining yourself is the only form of power you have left. That confessing is strength, and silence is hiding. That is the mirror method. Start to finish. And the one phrase that dismantles all of it, every layer, every trick, every psychological pressure point, is this: "Officer, I am invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I want a lawyer present before I answer any questions." That's it. That's the phrase. Those are your 7 words of protection built from the Constitution itself. You don't have to be angry when you say it. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to explain why. The moment those words leave your mouth, the legal obligation to stop questioning you kicks in. The mirroring stops. The sympathy stops. The drip feed of evidence stops. Because everything that officer was doing only works if you keep talking. The moment you stop, the entire method collapses. No matter how warm they've been. No matter how much they seem to understand you. No matter what evidence they claim to have. No matter how much they say your family needs you to speak. Your answer stays the same. I am invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I want a lawyer present before I answer any questions. And then, nothing. Not a word. Not a clarification. Not a, but let me just explain one thing. Nothing. Because here is what you have to understand. An officer using the mirror method is not in that room to hear your side. They walked in with a theory, and everything you say, every correction, every denial, every emotional explanation, is material they will use to build the case against you. Not for you. Against you. The warmth was strategy. The sympathy was tactics. The friendship was a tool. And your silence is the only thing that tool cannot work against. Know your rights. Use your rights. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it before they end up in a room where it's too late to learn. If you want more videos like this one, breaking down exactly what law enforcement does and exactly what you're legally protected to do, subscribe to this channel right now. Your rights don't disappear when a cop walks in the room. But if you don't know how to use them, they might as well not exist. Subscribe, and let's make sure that never happens to you.